Guys, the Switch has had a great lineup of games since its launch back in March. But, like every Nintendo console that's come before it, I feel it can only truly be judged off the strength of its first official Mario game.
Oh, well then strap yourself in, Goose, because they're sending the mustachioed mascot off on what might be his biggest adventure yet. This is Super Mario Odyssey.
Whoa!
Super Mario Odyssey sees the plucky ex-plumber set off on a grand world tour after a surprising and unexpected opening act.
The story begins like no other before it. This time around, Princess Peach has been forced to marry the dastardly, and now stylish, Bowser aboard his flying wedding ship. But before Mario has a chance to do anything, he's suddenly cast overboard, where his iconic red cap is torn to shreds.
To shreds, you say? It all is a bit of a shock, but worry not, as this makes room for the newest addition to the cast, Cappy. A magical hat from the Cap Kingdom, whose sister Tiara has also been kidnapped. Hatnapped?
Capnapped.
He swoops in as substitute headwear and bestows upon Mario his newest set of moves and abilities.
Working together, the two then set off in hot pursuit of Bowser and his Bad Bunny bridal party, with the help of the Odyssey, a hat-shaped ship that requires the power of collectible moons in order to travel to each new destination.
These moons act like the stars and shines of previous Mario games, and are scattered about each of the game's unique and colourful kingdoms. While some are hidden in plain sight, others are tucked away behind secret areas, puzzles, as well as boss encounters. But prepare to do some serious sleuthing, because there are a grand total of 836 moons you can collect! Mamma mia!
Oh, fortunately, you only need a handful at a time to reach each new kingdom, and you're free to search them out in any order you prefer.
Along with power moons, each area also has a specific number of unique purple tokens to find, and of course, Mario's currency of choice, gold coins. And these can be exchanged for fun new outfits and decorations for the Odyssey. And it's nice to finally have some customization in the series, even if it is just silly outfits.
Fashion!
I am all about the fashion. All the kingdoms you visit are chock full of things to do and crazy locals to chat with. Some levels even transform after you complete an objective. And as you run about exploring each of them, there's just this fantastic sense of freedom, wouldn't you agree?
Oh, totally. Odyssey is a return to that 3D world exploration that we first saw in Mario 64. Each time you're dropped off in a new stage, you're free to run, jump, and flip to your heart's content. Which I must say feels the best it ever has. Controls are super tight and responsive, all of Mario's classic acrobatic moves are there. Plus, the addition of Cappy is genius. Not only can you throw your cap as a projectile and even use him as a jump pad, Mario now has the strange ability to capture objects and enemies in the world. And it's captastic.
It's also a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Using this ability adds heaps of variety to Mario's already packed moveset, and makes for some of the most memorable moments in the game. It's a cleverly used and, most importantly, fun mechanic that never gets tiresome or overused. The same can also be said about the overall design of the levels and platforming puzzles.
Affirmative. The Mario series has a rich pedigree of innovation when it comes to level design, and Odyssey is no exception. The game mixes up both old and new play styles, often at the same time, making for unexpected, interesting challenges that at the same time feel familiar and joyful to play.
This is Nintendo showing off all their years of experience with the series, and the result is a masterpiece with a level of polish that almost requires sunglasses.
As someone who's not that great at 3D platformers, I was really happy to see the addition of an assist mode that helps you bounce back from damage and points you in the right direction. Plus, Plus, there's a two-player mode that puts another player in control of Cappy, although this feels more like a gimmick and gets chaotic rather quickly. But Goose, I'm keen to know, as a self-proclaimed Mario connoisseur, how does Odyssey stack up?
Well, Rad, there's no denying this game is utterly delightful. Mario has never looked and sounded this good. But if I had to find fault somewhere, it would probably have to be in the overall pacing. Collecting enough moons to complete the story only makes up a small portion of the game, and it almost felt like it was rushing me to the finish so that I could then experience the end game, which, to be fair, is massive. But this shift from a grand adventure to a slow burn collectathon still felt a little off to me. Then again, maybe I'll appreciate it more when I'm still playing this game in a few more weeks, or even months.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they've focused on longevity here, and I am on board with that. And by leaving a lot of those extreme challenges and platforming stages till later in the game, it meant I was free to enjoy exploring this adventure at my own pace.
You could say that this is a bit on the easy side when compared to something like the Super Mario Galaxy games, but the challenge is still there to be found for gamers who want to get that 100% completion.
I do also think they could have explained a few things better, like how many of the moons aren't available until you complete the story, or if it's even worth collecting more of them early on.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be keen to go back and find more, but after that ending, and a few special surprises along the way, I was pulled straight back in and was ready to reach for the stars. I mean, moons.
It is hard to deny the charm that comes from picking up this game each time. I was grinning from ear to ear while I was playing it. If you love video games, you're going to love this adventure. I'm giving Super Mario Odyssey 5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
This is Nintendo doing what they do best. Taking a beloved series and successfully mixing it up to feel fresh and new, while still maintaining what we love about the originals. It's a masterclass in game design. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Double fives! Hats off to Mario!
It's a him, a Mario, and after a brief spell with his feet firmly on the ground, he's once again blasting into outer space to spoil us with more galactic gaming goodness. Woohoo!
Everyone's favourite dungaree-wearing tradesman is once again called into action to plumb some pipes, crush some Koopas, and reclaim a whole universe full of stars. And the game has to start somewhere, so true to Mario tradition, it starts here.
Of course, if you've played Mario games before, you've probably learned to live without any substantial storyline to motivate you. Really, it's best to just jump in and start waggling.
And there's plenty to waggle at. New galaxies, new superpowers, and a few old friends to help you.
Yes, the first big news is that Yoshi is back. The cute green dinosaur is Mario's mount of choice, and his flutter jump and super long tongue will both keep you out of trouble and help you get into some.
Yoshi can eat your enemies and then poop out star bits, which you collect by moving your Wiimote cursor over them, just like in the first game.
Once collected, you can use the star bits for a variety of purposes. You can fire them at enemies, or you can feed them to the chubby, hungry Lumas, which then transform into new galaxies for you to conquer.
Yoshi can also grip onto floating flowers, which can allow you to get to otherwise inaccessible platforms or planetoids, as well as eat a few superfruits to gain the power of berry gas, chili speed, or eggplant glow, all of which help you solve the mysteries of the galaxy.
Other toys include the Cloud Mushroom, which give Mario the ability to create fluffy white platforms out of thin air, and the Rock Mushroom, which transform Mario into an unstoppable rolling boulder at the slightest Wiimote waggle.
Other suits like Bee Mario and Fireflower Mario return as well, and all of these little toys make for some interesting level design and ways to play, and heck, I didn't get bored once here.
I don't think it's possible to get bored playing this game, Barger, because there's just so much to do. Each galaxy has at least 3 stars to collect, and you'll need at least 70 to make it to Bowser's final lair. But even if you do make it that far, you've really only scratched the surface of Super Mario Galaxy 2 because there's over 250 stars to collect in total, and plenty of new areas to open up and explore after you finish the initial quest.
All of these levels are displayed on an old school map screen, and I did miss the hub world of the previous game, Hex, but this one kind of makes up for it by getting to fly around in a spaceship shaped like Mario's head.
The Starship Mario is a nice little addition. You can store any excess star bits you leave in the bank, collect your mail, and some of the friends you meet in your adventure will join you there. One thing I really did miss though, Barjo, was that Nintendo haven't included any of the super challenging, pure jumping stages from the first game. You know, it's one of my favourite things from the original, so I was really sad that it was a no-show this time.
That didn't bother me at all, Hex, because I think Mario Galaxy 2 is challenging enough as it is, especially towards the end. The later levels are hair-tearingly frustrating. And I think the developers realise this because if you suck too much, a ghost version of Princess Rosalina will pop up to help you along the way. And also, they've included a DVD with the game to teach noobs how to play, not that I used it.
You'll perform some moves in this game by pointing the Wii remote at your TV screen.
Yeah, you so used it. You're all over that DVD. Help me, DVD.
There are other moves like the side somersault, performed by jumping in the opposite direction while running.
Badge, it's not really a huge leap forward in terms of game design. I mean, we've seen most of these gravity-defying tricks before, and the game actually steals a lot of content, not just from the first Super Mario Galaxy, but from a lot of other Mario games, like this homage to Super Mario 64.
I'm not sure if that's a bad thing, though. For me, Mario was all about nostalgia.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the game is definitely a refinement, but it also often feels like you're retreading well-worn ground here. I mean, especially since Super Mario Galaxy 2 faces you against many of the same bosses from Super Mario Galaxy 1, like this guy, and even this guy. I mean, it's just a typical example of cut and paste game design. It's just made me a bit sad.
It really straddles that line of being disappointed and bored to reliving the past. As much as I wanted to mark it down for that though, Hex, I just couldn't. It's undeniably fun. There's heaps of other new stuff here and it's completely challenging. It's just the kind of game that makes you happy to be a gamer. I'm giving it 10 out of 10 rubber chickens.
It's one of the best games of the year and certainly the best platformer since the first Super Mario Galaxy, but it's just that cut and paste that brought it down to a 9 out of 10 from me.